And we are live. Hey guys, thank you for joining us again. I'm Ryan McGuire, president of Third Coast Grappling, and I'm joined by Jiu Jitsu Times head editor and Mr. Dan Dwyer himself as well. He's the owner of Grapple Sport in Australia, and also lagging very badly since he's in Australia. So thank you for joining us, sir. Hopefully we can hear what you have to say in about 30 seconds. I'm just
Thank you.
Hopefully he'll do it on his phone.
Yeah.
So how are things in Australia? What's up? What's going on over there? How is you're real in touch with the US, Averi, because you kind of got to be. So how are things in Australia?
Compared to how things are there, I think they're a bit better. We're looking at being allowed to start back up with training in some capacity, hopefully on June 6th. That's exciting, and our numbers are actually down. I can't remember exactly what the coronavirus number is, and so
I may have lost them both. Well, guys, it's just me for right now. Hold on.
It's a better situation here, I think, than it is there for sure. So we're looking forward to hopefully getting back to normal pretty soon.
Cool. You cut out there for a second, but I think it's just Dan's. He's playing some evil.
I think there's lag now.
No, but that's good. I'm glad things are kind of getting back to normal there. We're supposed to be able to start training again in 4 days, and it's going to be with dummies and doing drilling and all that kind of stuff. So it should be kind of cool.
Oh, how cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see how that gets.
Sorry guys, I'm gonna try to fix our internet here. But online and everything. But how's stuff going over there?
Stuff's good. It got Texas is kind of the Wild West, our governor is real pro Donald Trump, pro, small business, pro, small government. So he was like, hey, our numbers are going down. Texas is gigantic, except for certain areas, the cases have all been declining. Let's find a way to start opening it up. So that's what you're seeing. And that's why you're seeing a lot of these jiu-jitsu promotions that are coming into Texas to throw events, because it's the easiest place to throw events right now. And you got places I think Eddie Bravo's coming over here to El Paso, and Averi is cycling. Hey, all right, we good?
All right. We've been having weird, and our internet's been terrible for some reason. So sorry about that.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But no, it's been good. Things have just been slowly kind of phasing back open, and people seem to kind of gotten over this stuff. And I think it's case by case, but it seems like everybody's slowly starting to get on with their lives a little bit.
All right. Hopefully this fixes it. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Dan, you're actually looking like you're not frozen anymore. How's it going over there?
That's good. Yeah. Apparently I'm stuck in the past, but living in the future in Australia. It's weird. How late I am. Averi's in the other room, so we don't press each other and stuff. But apparently her internet in the bedroom is a lot better than the lounge.
I guess it works it out. But so, Averi, you've been kind of holding down the fort for Jiu-Jitsu media. I went back and did a little research. Over 2,000 plus articles posts for Jiu-Jitsu Times. 2,000. That's got to be a record for a writer or somebody or journalist in this industry.
Yeah, not all of them are super long, which is the only reason I can produce things like that. People knock, oh, this is just a recap of someone's social media post or whatever. People need to see that stuff, and so. Again, not everything's this super long, editorial piece, but between this and my other jobs, I'm writing up to 8 articles a day. So incredibly long like that. But
Dan, does she still talk a lot even though she's writing all that time?
I haven't seen her in 3 months. Honestly, we live together and I haven't seen her in 3 months. She works really hard, and it's cool to see people message her and be like, thank you for this article. I was, whether it be ready to quit or something at my gym comfortable to talk about or something. So, it's she's busy. So, and I'm pretty busy with my own job and my own little project and stuff. So it's nice when we don't have like a computer or laptop or anything in front of us where we can sort of sit down and ignore each other.
Yeah.
So, nice.
No, it works, man. But that's awesome. I mean, Avery. So, I mean, when did you start writing for? I guess when did you start your journalism career in the jiu-jitsu industry? Was it when you like as a white belt when you started training, or like what? How did this all come about?
So this started. I actually got a different. It was a viral writing job, like one of those sites that's like, you won't believe what happened next, or like 10 cutest puppies that you can follow on Instagram. So I actually started out with that, but I got the job. I think I was a white belt or like early blue belt at the time. I'm pretty sure I was a white belt, but I got that job because I wrote a sample article about Ronda Rousey because she was just getting at that point. I think this was in like 2012, so she was just getting into the UFC, and I was pumped about it. And so I wrote that. I got that job, and then a couple years later, I moved on from that. And then Emil Fisher met me at a tournament when I had visited Pittsburgh. I was living in Costa Rica at the time. But Emil Fisher and I got to talking, and he was like, oh, I write for this website called Jiu Jitsu Times. If you're interested, I can get you in contact with the owner, Kit. And so, yeah, it just kind of worked out from there. And luckily, I have a job where I can just work from home. And I've been able to, I guess, do a lot more for the site since then. Jiu Jitsu Times has always been just like, Kit is a gem and just treats everyone really well. And they're someone I'm really proud to work with. So I stuck with it.
And that's one thing I was going to kind of bring up. I mean, you guys in a world of politics and slanted journalism and, people paying for play and all this stuff, you guys have been able to like maintain some good balance and stay unbiased. I mean, you're able to treat one promoter just the same as you treat the other. I mean, you guys are fair, I think. And I think that's a big deal considering the climate for journalism in jiu-jitsu. So, anybody with a website and a blog post thinks they're a journalist these days. It's amazing. So, but it's appreciated. I mean, it goes far beyond just us. I mean, free content is great, but free quality content is even better. So we appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. We try. Like we really do try. We don't always get it perfect, but there's always 100% effort coming from our little team. So
yeah, I mean, me and you're one of the people I'll come to when I want to bounce stuff off. Like, maybe should I post this? Should I not post this? Like, should I do? I'm kind of like, I need. It's so like, what's these issues that are closest to your heart that seem to get you in a lot of trouble for some reason? And I see it on our post. Like jiu-jitsu people don't like seeing anything about domestic violence or sexual assault. Like they like feel personally attacked because they might have slapped their girlfriend around or something, like it's ridiculous. Like we want to talk about being a decent human being, and those posts get some of the most negative responses. Like it's such a weird culture. It's odd. And I think it reflects really poorly on the community as a whole when they see that stuff. And you see it in a lot of, female specific grappling groups, like you see screenshots of that, like, oh my God, guys, this is concerning. Do I even want to be in the sport anymore? If this is like, are these people training with me? Like these people defending these, abusers, are they training with me? Are they coaching me? And I think that's really concerning. And I think it's good, if people can speak up about it. And if they can't make this gigantic, overwhelming difference in the community, they can at least be like, hey, like not everyone is scared to call this stuff out. And I think that's helpful. Well, the worst thing that I hate is like fighter goes here, fighter and white belt or blue belt get together, ends badly. White belt, blue belt accuses aggressive professional fighter of improper behavior. When if you're a black belt and you're with a white or blue belt, it's kind of a little something going on there to begin with. But so you get all these weird things like the Tex Johnson thing when that came out. I mean, that lady came out with all this credible evidence and all this stuff. And as time would go on, it just seemed like she was being made out to be the bad person in all of it, rather than, people try to hold the person that was actually being accused accountable. It's just a weird culture.
Yeah. And it's tough because, again, it is a question of he said, she said in many cases, or he said, or she said, whatever the dynamic is there. And I don't fault people for saying, oh, I don't want to pass judgment until there's hard evidence or until there's a conviction. Like, I don't think that's wrong, but at the same time, you shouldn't automatically be like, no, this accuser is definitely lying. Like, at the same time, like, I know it's, everyone's innocent until proven guilty, but I think, if an accusation like that is made, it's worth at least looking into it or pausing. Okay, it's not like we're banning this competitor forever from our promotion or from our tournament, but like, let's at least pause and look into the situation a bit more and, give some kind of, credibility to the accuser as well.
Yeah, and that's something we've tried to do, at least in some of these situations we found ourselves in. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on kind of in the underbelly that nobody ever wants to talk about, or it never gets brought up, because there's like that culture of like that old school, like OG jiu-jitsu culture where it's like, I got your back, brother. Like, kind of thing. Like, there has to be a red line though. And I guess, and more a morality's sake, like, sexual assault, rape, having relations with minors. I mean, there needs to be certain red lines that once crossed, I don't care how good of a friend you are, like we're not friends anymore.
Yeah, exactly. It's a weird culture sometimes. I've seen a good bit of it too. And he's also obviously not crazy about that.
I mean, Dan, what do you think? I mean, you're over on the Australia side. You guys just seem like a bunch of, like I tell people all the time, you're like English Texans. It's like the best. It's like my favorite people in the world when I was stationed with a bunch of Australians in Iraq. It was the best time ever.
Yeah, we're definitely, like my ancestors are convicts. So, I mean, when you say that, and then you've got everything else that can potentially kill you. I guess the whole jiu-jitsu thing in Australia, I think, is very similar to the rest of the world. Like the OG, they demand respect, but do the wrong things that earn the respect. Like, I've had altercations and like bump-ins with like local black belts or black belts that are visiting and stuff like that. And, they're doing shady things, and sort of like me as a person, like I'm a youth worker. So if there was, as you mentioned, like an assault on minors and stuff like that, like I'm banned to report against that. And I think a lot of people just blind eye to it. And I think that if they were to put one of their family members or something like that in a situation, like, would they be okay with that person doing that thing, their family member or something like that? I think the fact that a lot of people turn a blind eye, it's just not something that like I could ever see myself doing. So.
Yeah, and that's a difficult thing, because like in jiu-jitsu, you come in, you have all these. I mean, you're a brown belt, I'm a purple belt. Avery, you're purple belt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've all been training for at least, 4+ years or whatever. So we look at the sport, it's kind of like an unmasking period. Everybody wants to talk about unmasking in the US, but it's like you get woke somewhere between like blue and purple belt, and you're like, what's going on around here? Like, I thought this was all martial arts and loyalty and respect and crushing the ego and being humble and being a good person. Holy shit, there's a bunch of pieces of shit around me. What is going on? Like, it just ends up being like somebody telling you Santa Claus is not real for a little bit. It kind of has that kind of impact.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I do think you're right. It's somewhere between like blue or purple, maybe purple for some people that don't dive into it in the way that we have. But yeah, I think just society, maybe it's Western society, maybe it's, the entire world, but we kind of grow up looking at like having this idea of a black belt in our mind as like the be all, like you've reached the height of morality, like you're basically the drama, like you cannot get than black belt. And the reality is there's a lot of really scummy people that are just good at sports, that are good at beating people up, and they level without ever having gone through the process of like elevating yourself as a person as well, or that was never part of their plan in the first place, and now they're just a bully who is dangerous
Yeah, like a pretty high level black belt. I mean, one of his advices to me was like, Ryan, just ignore it all. Most of these guys didn't develop the social skills that they need, and most of them aren't intelligent enough to have like a real argument. They're eventually just going to turn to saying really nasty things and throwing a fit and just acting belligerent despite being a 40 or 50-year-old man or whatever. Like, so that's kind of the approach we're taking, is like, okay, like what can you say anymore, you know?
Yeah,
I mean, it's like you're by responding to people or Reddit haters or comments and stuff. It leads down you're giving them what they want, so it's better to just ignore them.
Yeah, Dan even had an incident a few years back before I knew him. We're not going to name the guy, but what was it, Dan? Like, he threatened to slap you because he thought you were trying to hit on his girlfriend.
Yeah, no, a little bit more than that. It slapped me, and it was in like so it was a visiting black belt from a part of Australia. He came over and immediately, like, all the guys that I was training with were like, "Oh, don't tag him anywhere," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, you know, maybe like he called in sick for his, I don't know, other job or something," but they were like, "Yeah, no, he you know, he's sort of like doing this dodgy stuff behind his partner's back or something," and yeah, he sort of got a bit frustrated. I was talking to a girl that was in this group, and apparently that was like side chick for South Australia, which is a little bit sort of disheartening because I just paid a lot of money to do a seminar with this guy, and here I am like looking up to him like, oh, puppy dog eyes, like, hey, like, oh my god, like,
he's talking to me. Oh my god.
I'm hanging out with a black after I just gave him money. So,
he's really my friend. I just paid him to hang out with me. He's really my friend.
Yeah. So, but yeah, long story short, basically, he thought I was trying to steal this girl off him, and I just looked like just complete respect. And then I think I had that like woke moment where I was like, oh wow, I don't have to give you respect.
Yeah, it's a bizarre feeling. Like those guys, like it went from like, I'm very fortunate because the school I come from is they have their old school elements, but my professor is like one of the most renowned. I mean, it's Kit's, you know, lineage as well, you know, with Homolo and Draculino and all that. Like Draculino is my direct professor, and that guy, I mean, he's taught me what it means to be good in business, on and off the mats. You know, be a good jiu-jitsu. And without him, I don't even think Third Coast would. I mean, without his advice and some of his mentorship, I don't think I'd have made it out alive of some of these situations, because I thought politics was like bad before. Like I love politics. I mean, I follow it, but I don't think the U.S. government has anything on the jiu-jitsu politics that go on in this community. Holy shit!
It's so funny too, because for us, you know, like, we are up to date on. You know, all the crazy drama in the jiu-jitsu community, but like the second you step even a little bit outside that, people are like, they're like, what? Like, who cares about any of this? And it's funny how, like, it makes you wonder how many other like little niche areas there are like that, where there's like all this crazy drama blowing up, and the rest of the world is like
online spades players. I bet they have their drama or something. You know, like my wife said it perfectly. She's like, Ryan, some of your posts you're making, like, I think like maybe 3 or 4 people might get it, but nobody else knows what the fuck you're talking about. Like you're talking about this and that. I get people like from high school like, hey, are you talking about me? I'm like, because it's like to the point now. It's like it's no need to say anything, because it's pointless drama. People are going to misinterpret your words. They're going to think it's about them because people are like that. And so I don't know. Like we dealt with some stuff, you know, on the coronavirus stuff when that happened. And that was like super eye opening. And if I would say woke for a business side, that was what woke us up. Like, okay, like these guys aren't our friends. They're actually our competitors. They're actually rival promoters. And yeah, we can be friendly. We can do that. But doing business together, we got here on our own. We don't need anybody else. So it was kind of like one of those moments where it was like, separate, cool. I wish you guys well. But I think it's better for us as a business to just focus on ourselves, because there's so much ego wrapped up in just being grappler at the highest levels. Like imagine a grappling promoter. You know, they have all these high level athletes that want to talk to them and be their best friend, all because they're going to give them $500 to show. You know, like it's
yeah.
It's a trip, man. I mean, and you guys being media, I'm sure y'all get the same stuff from athletes and promoters trying to schmooze all a little bit. So
yeah, now Dan's starting a promotion that you mentioned with his partner, Grapple Sport, and he's thinking a bit of that, but I don't think he's experienced it quite to the level that you have just yet.
Yeah, I've tried to just be a nice guy. That's how I deal with these people. Like it's me and my partner. We started it for fun. We're not rich. I mean, we did this. We don't have like a long kind of a stretch like Seth does, or like deep pockets like Kasai and ADCC does. We did it with like basically our own passion, our own money, and I mean, we made unprecedented strides in our first year. So I mean, we're doing something right. So we're just going to keep doing it. We're going to get back to basics, and that's all we can do. Yeah. And Dan, as a promoter that's coming up out there in Australia, man, like keep it weird, keep it different. And don't let anybody tell you that what you're doing is stupid. Do what you want to do. Don't do what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, we're trying to do some stuff like Averi's very vocal. I don't know if you've read the articles that Averi writes about, like the Jiu Jitsu. You may have seen one or two the last 5-10 minutes. We made a personal habit, and obviously I would get beaten at home if I didn't put women on our first Jiu Jitsu card, but we managed to stack it with, I think, 12 girls or something like that for our first card, which is not something that's quite popular in Australia. And yeah, I think just in Adelaide, we have like a couple of competitions. I have one of my good friends, he started running like a format style tournament where, sort of like, I guess, what you guys do and, EBI do everything. And it sort of like motivated me and my business partners to get in and just try to do something where we could make the community grow. Like we've got a couple of people from Adelaide that have gone out and done huge things. Craig Jones, he's from Adelaide.
Craig Jones is from Adelaide? Hold on one sec.
I don't know if he admits that. I don't know if that's
one sec, guys. Sorry.
But tell people more, Dan, about the background.
It's getting a little dark here over in Texas, and I had to go turn the lights on real quick. It was getting dark in my room. I'm like,
already tomorrow.
I can't see anything.
Craig and Isaac Mitchell, both from Adelaide, both going out and doing amazing things, but they started here in Adelaide. So me and my business partner James, we wanted to make sure that there's a platform for competitors to be able to either compete against people from interstate and international that have bigger names, but to start to grow Adelaide. But as soon as we started, we got a lot of expressions of interest outside of Adelaide. So it's like, okay, well, if the first show goes well, which was meant to be May 2nd, after moving it from February, something like that, we're now tentative for July, but at the moment our gyms are shut, and if anyone's in the same round shape that I'm in, it's definitely not a shape to compete. So
I feel you, man, on that.
So and going back to, I guess, some of the douchebags in jiu-jitsu, I actually had to turn down a black belt because I saw a video that he did, and I didn't like it, so I sort of said no, but I'm polite because I feel like I don't want to step on any toes just yet.
Yeah,
give me one show under my belt, and I'll step on some toes.
Yeah, see, I was stepping on toes before my first show, after my first show, after my second show. It just it's just a tap dance routine I like to do. I like to piss people off. So, no, I'm just kidding. I'm totally joking, but not yet, kind of not. But yeah, man. Like you guys, I mean, Australia, like Isaac Michaud, I hung out with him. Me and him kind of just hung out and shared a smoke in where were we? In Boston. Yeah, we were at the BJJ Fanatics thing, and he was so I was up there talking with those guys, doing some business, and Isaac was up there, and like I remember I ordered something from one of their delivery guys, and he delivered something up, and I'm sitting out there by my rental, and he walks out, and we just kind of chopped it up. Super nice guy. Probably should be a supermodel though, not like a jiu-jitsu guy.
Explain to Averi it was basically like Isaac is essentially the type of person that would be a supermodel that would donate blood while surfing and playing an acoustic guitar all at the same time, because like, yeah, he's just like, I don't know why he decided to jiu-jitsu. He's obviously good at it. He's ridiculously good at it. There used to be a time where I used to be okay rolling with him, but he came back from the States and did a seminar at the gym and came to one about open mats, and I just felt like I was a little wet gi bag being thrown around. Yeah, super nice dude. He hopefully he achieves some big things in this sport, because he's a nice dude. He's one of the
him and Craig both are super nice guys, and I think it just comes with Australians. I don't think I've ever met an Australian I didn't like. So, I mean, it's kind of I'm serious. They've all been great. When I was stationed in Iraq in 2003, there was an Australian unit that was kind of near us, and we would always it was always fun just to chat, man. And they were able to drink beer and stuff over there. We're all sitting there all strict, like they're throwing back pints, mortars going off. No big deal. Nah, but it was cool. But I guess, Avery, so what's next for you? You have any big projects? You got anything else you're kind of working on, or are you just holding down the fort?
I'm just I've actually been one of the rare people that's been enjoying all this quarantine stuff. I recognize that I'm super lucky to, already be working from home and to have a job where I work online. So I haven't had to stress about money or anything. Dan also hasn't, because he's a youth worker. He is essential. So pretty good. So I've kind of
so essential
to just like you said, kind of hold down the fort, get done what needs to get done, maybe a little extra if I can. Not that there's a lot of extra to do right now, but just I guess learning some new stuff. I've been trying to do more yoga and like focus on that kind of stuff. So I guess my point is, I'm not like striving for anything extra right now. I'm just like, I'm never going to get this time away from the gym. So I'm taking advantage of it to.
Yeah, it's been definitely like the longest time I've ever taken away from training. So it was like when we canceled the event, it was like somebody like pulled a plug out from my back, because I lost training jiu-jitsu. I lost throwing jiu-jitsu events. That was what I did. I left my day job like 6 months ago, and I said, fuck it, all in. Let's go. So everything stopped. My wife was in school, so they've moved all her classes home. My daughter is at school, so they move them home. I usually work from home. So next thing you know, 7 weeks straight, we're stuck, all three of us in the house, and we're not leaving. I'm talking for hardly anything. So it's like, it was like that was like the toughest test for our marriage. And I mean, our anniversary is in 4 days, our 1 year anniversary, and we made it through a quarantine together. So I guess it's going to work out if we didn't kill each other yet through that. So
what's it like having a kid right now through all this?
Well, I mean, the story with my daughter is, when I met Lisa, I knew she had a daughter, but the father wasn't in the picture. And it turned out he was like he was an addict, and he kind of just, he dropped the ball on his responsibilities as a dad, and she was like 2 or 3. And, I met Aislinn when she was around probably 3 years old, and Lisa, and then, I fell in love with her. I fell in love with Lisa. I knew she needed a dad, and she didn't have anybody, so I was like, I'm like a white belt in fatherhood still. I try every day, but it's like, she's my daughter. I mean, she didn't have anybody else. So it was a lot of changes. We started Third Coast Grappling. I got married. I became a father all in the past like 14, 16 months. So it's been like, usually people do that like in segments, all that change, but it was just like, fuck it, you can handle it kind of thing. But I mean, fatherhood's been a whole different thing. Like, before, my purpose was just to prove people wrong. Like, I had a lot of spite motivation. Like, I just wanted to be like, oh, all right, motherfuckers, we're gonna show y'all how we really do it. But then it got so it's like, I got my daughter, I got my wife, I've got business partners, I got myself. She gave me, I guess, a better perspective that there's more out there than just my selfish ways, how I used to be. Going from a single guy to a married guy with a daughter was a big change. So, but no, I treat her like my own. She's blossoming. She's starting to get a little bit of my attitude. It drives her mom crazy, but it works out.
Amazing.
So yeah, it's been cool. I mean, you guys. So have y'all killed each other yet during quarantine, or has it just been mainly friendly training?
We haven't really been training. No, we I mean, I think we've been doing pretty well. Like we bickered a couple times, like I think most people would when they're trapped in the house with each other. But, like we're a couple that loves each other and we have a lot of fun together. So a couple of times we've kind of accidentally trained a few times where it was just like jumping around, all like, just jokingly smack, and then suddenly, we're both trying to like lock the floor, knocking over furniture, like that. We haven't gotten a lot of training in. Would you agree, Dan?
Yeah. Like yesterday.
Hold the choke for a little longer if it lets the dishes pile up. I like it. So Avery's got to go Paharis on you if you don't get the dishes done.
I just tell her to break it like I always do every time she tries.
Yeah.
Tap or snap, bitch.
Like, oh, do you remember that time you tapped to that armbar? My first time tapping to an armbar, blah blah blah. But last night I was giving Avery a foot massage because I'm a nice dude.
I do the same thing for my wife, of course. That's what they do.
Yeah. Daniel.
I started playing around with different hold grips and stuff like
I
that.
do the same thing all the time.
Yeah. I didn't realize watching TV, and I got to the point where I had her in a heel hook, and she's like, "Stop!"
You're like eyes going like to a 50-yard stare, and you're just sitting there with the heel hook on, about to snap it, like
flashbacks, like
Jiu-Jitsu and UFC recently. Like Submission Underground was on the other week, and like UFC's been on for the last 2 days. But it's been weird, like watching people being so close doing things. It's like, I'm ready to get back to jiu-jitsu, but I have that concern of like, am I going to want to be that close to somebody that's sweating all over me? And yeah, but I'm just, I'm probably going to go like full body morph suit.
You can go to the what's it called? The Gemp suit from what's it called? Pulp Fiction. The guy comes out of the closet with the gag in his mouth.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I was thinking less gag and less more like
okay, Lycra. We'll go with Lycra. That works.
Spider-Man, like a Spider-Man or something like that.
I could probably go for like a fat Hulk or something like that, like for myself.
See, right there, that's a fantastic tournament idea. So you could have like Spider-Man, Hulk. Like my head coach.
Oh, don't get me started on these ideas.
Batman. Dress up as Batman and go up against Spider-Man or something like that. So
I'm down. Halloween Third Coast Grappling Special.
Still my idea, right?
You're in Australia. Nobody's even going to hear it. I'm just going to say, hey, he's on Australia. We're countries away. It's like literally. No, but that would be a great Halloween idea to have like a duel between like a tag team between like Batman and Robin versus like, somebody else, just like as a fun exhibition. Like,
yeah.
I'd get a Jiu-Jitsu Times article out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's been fun, man. Like I'm actually getting back to having fun again with this stuff. Like I got so wrapped up in like the drama and the bullshit and everybody being so angry because of, the quarantine and everybody having these opinions. Everybody became a scientist. Everybody became a, social justice warrior. Like it made me see a lot of people's true colors, and I'm kind of grateful for it. Like I'm grateful for the time to kind of reset things, look around, evaluate things the way I do. And it's like, and fix where we were fucking up. And I think that's what, if people want to look at silver linings for this slowdown is that you allowed you to slow down. Because if you're like me, I go 90-0 like all the time. So this forced shutdown was like jarring. Like, what do I do? Oh, let me just die in my anxiety.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have been kind of saying that in terms of like, I found out, who matters to me and, who isn't really looking out for my best interests, or I found out like what I miss and what I don't. A lot of people are taking this time to kind of look within themselves and, deal with their own stuff. And I think that's really valuable. I think it's going to be weird coming out of this. I know there have been a couple people in my life through this that I've been like, you've kind of shown your true colors, and I'm comfortable not having you in my life after this. And there's other people that I've become exponentially closer to, like we've been talking every day. Now I'm coming out of that, like with a whole new perspective on those friendships, a new appreciation for them as well.
And that's good. Yeah, that's definitely been. So I'm saying there's always good things, and for mental health, you just slowing down is always good. Like if you're depressed, like slow your brain down and stop thinking about the past. If you're anxious, slow down, don't stop thinking about the future, and just be for a little bit, and just go meditate or go do what you got to do. But I personally started seeing a therapist again probably about 4 months ago. And it was like the best thing I could have done, because, I had a tough childhood, and then, my military stuff, wasn't easy either. So it's cool to kind of have somebody in there to bounce, like, and get that, mainly just a perspective shift, to bare my soul to, and have somebody that's a little bit, somebody I trust to kind of give me some great feedback and let me see things a little differently, give me some good meditation techniques. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's, I think, I know Dan's very about mental health, and I think both of you are very introspective men, and I think that's really nice to see, especially again in a combat sport where we have all this drama and like toxic stuff.
I feel like I don't belong. Like, I mean, granted, look, like we're not perfect, but a lot of what we did, like, it's always been from the heart. Like, nobody's out here trying to like screw anybody over or take money. Like, we're not making any money. Like, even if I screw you over, I'm not making any money. Like, how am I? Like, I don't get how, like, this whole mentality of, oh, you're screwing me over, you're doing this. Like, just worry about your own business and let us worry about ours. And ours is we pay our athletes and we throw shows that are better than yours. And that's kind of just, I'm just kidding. But that's how I want to go. That's the character I want to play, but I can't play it because then I get death threats and all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, people are, you're going to fucking die, you fat Texas fat. Like, people get crazy. Like, it's unreal. Like, it's the stuff, the messages we get through like the Third Coast Grappling page and stuff, like just posting our Donald Trump meme, like, it gets people so like fired up. It's like the most snowflake industry I've ever been in my life.
I know, on all sides. I think people would be good to take this time, like you said, to slow down and figure out if that's really something they need to be spending their time doing.
I just got tired of, like, every time I turn on social media, there's somebody virtue signaling. Oh, I got so-and-so. I opened my gym for the good of America, or I paid for 1 month's tuition, or I did this. And I'm like, bro, do you remember what you were saying 2 or 3 weeks ago? Like, you were a total piece of shit. Like, this isn't gonna, going out there and, like, I guess that works for some people if you want to go do the March of Dimes and feed homeless kids. But if you just, basically, destroyed a whole class of people, with your words. I mean, I don't see, people aren't living in reality. Social media is just as real in some cases as, a regular reality is. And what you say online, you should be held accountable for it offline as well, I think.
Yeah. Well, hopefully after this, we'll all be able to throw with the people we disagreed with, at least. But
I just muted them all. It's a lot easier. You mute them, unfollow. I mean, those functions are amazing.
Yeah. Dan, what do you feel like I know in the US, like Ryan and I have talked about like all the hostility that's been going on, and it's a bit more conflicted than I feel like it is here. But what do you think the vibe in Australia has been like? Have you felt like it's been that hostile online?
Definitely in the shopping centers. Like, there's been fighting over food, and I'm sure that's all around the world. Like, trying to fight over toilet paper or mints and like that. Yeah, I'm like you, Ryan. I sort of like unfollow a whole bunch of people. A big thrill I like to do is I like to unfriend people on their birthday if I don't really know them.
That's savage. I love it.
Birthday. It's like, oh, whose birthday is it today? Oh, this person. I don't really know them, so bye. But yeah, unfollowing people. For me, like, I'm similar. Like, I've always been like quite of a reserved person until like my mid-20s. And then started to speak out about stuff going on in my head and everything that I was feeling. And I was using Jiu Jitsu, like a lot of people do, as like an outlet to relieve stress. And
yeah, same here.
Just like sort of like just anything to, take out my frustration. But I think what a lot of people don't realize is that if you actually talk about things, like empty out your brain, like, it's actually quite a nice feeling. Mm-hmm. And for me and Averi as well, like doing like a little bit of yoga. I just got a notification on my phone this morning saying that I'm officially up to a month straight of doing meditation, which is
wow, that's awesome.
Thought I was, but like obviously this corona has given me the time to do that. one of my head coaches, Mike, was at the gym, and Avery was helping cut some mats, and Avery mentioned that I'd been doing meditation, and he was like, "What? Really?" Like, damn. So, yeah, I think a lot of people they need to open up their mind a little bit more, especially this time when there's no other outlets to get your frustration. You know, don't stay home being angry. Stay home, be happy. It's a lot easier. Take muscles smile than it does frown.
Yeah, I mean, and as you as a promoter as well, I mean, you're still working toward your first bit, but you know the amount of work and the passion and the thankless stuff you have to do just to get basic stuff done. I mean, when we get to our scale, like when we were coming through for Third Coast Grappling 4, I had thousands out in content creation. I had thousands. I mean, stuff that had already been paid, you know, and then this thing happens. And the next thing you know, it's like, all right, well, we're going to probably have to cancel this. And then, you know, there's articles coming out saying, oh, well, you guys are doing it because you're broke. And I'm like, of course we're broke, but that's not why we're doing it. Like I've never said I was rich. Like people make their own assumptions. Like you're writing an article saying that Third Coast Grappling is having money problems and it's not really the coronavirus, but in reality, yeah, we were all having money problems. Anybody that owns a grappling promotion has money problems. But if I've had 7 events and I've paid every single one of my fighters, shut the fuck up about it. Like it doesn't even make any sense. Like there's guys out there calling Kasai out for not paying their fighters. Like I've never had a single athlete come out and say Ryan McGuire does not pay his fighters. So when people came and attacked us, it was all political and it was all wrapped up in whatever. And that was the thing that was kind of like that keyed me up. Like, okay, like I got to watch who I talk to, number one. And number two, I've got to watch who's around me. So like, I really just cut people off like really quickly. Like I'll talk to Avery, I'll talk to Kit, I'll talk to, you know, we'll create a lot of our own content. And then I'll talk to a couple of people like a Josh Leduc or somebody in the industry. But a lot of the old guard guys, man, it's people, it's easier just to stay away from that because they've got all those long histories and long relationships and intertwined things and business dealings here and there. Like I don't understand. I don't get the politics, you know, so I've just kind of wiped a lot of this shit up to the coronavirus. I mean, it's unprecedented. Everybody's went from zero. I mean, going from 100 to 0 out of nowhere. People lost their businesses, their families, you know, their ways to, I mean, everybody was losing their minds. So like, I'm an empathetic enough to say, you know what, I'm going to give anybody that might have wronged us a pass. I've apologized or done any of my apologies that I can to anybody I may have wronged in the past. Even people that I thought I would never apologize to. I've found just this kind of like a personal fulfillment thing of just reaching out and saying, hey, you know what? I had some wrong in this as well. I apologize. Let's move on. Your people are, you know, can fight on my card whenever. Like I've reached out and made my amends kind of like AA style, you know, like if I was an asshole to you, I'm just going to, you know, apologize, but I don't make excuses for it. You know, I'm not going to sit out and be like, oh, you know, I was having a drug problem or, you know, I'm just so this or that. That's why I'm an asshole. No, I just got caught up in it. You know, the character of playing a grappling promoter. And, you know, you watch guys like Gordon Ryan, you watch all these leaders in the industry and you think, hey, these guys are getting ahead that way. There's no other promotion. Everybody else is like, oh, you know, bow to the fucking picture of Master Helio, you know. And I'm over here wanting to do co-ed tag team matches and Royal Rumbles, you know. Like I'm kind of like the dirty uncle that's coming to the party. So it's like people loved us at first, and then they were like, okay, well, we still love them and appreciate them, but maybe, you know, I don't know what it was, but I think a lot of it had to do with ego. A lot of it had to do with people weren't really clicking, you know, on the same wavelength after events were canceled and emotions were running high. And I'm man enough to say that, hey, I get it, whatever. My emotions ran high and I've moved on from it. But, you know, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, it's hard in the industry too, because I think, unfortunately, it thrives on that's not just, you know, it's everything, like everything in any promotion. Like you need to have that chatter in a way, and of course there's also the really intense competition because we're in such a, you know, small competitive industry. So it's unfortunate that there is that kind of drama, or that, you know, promotion, not that they can't be friends, but, you know, that there's that drama between them that pushes them up instead of bringing them together.
And I don't even understand what like my competition is mainly I just want to throw a better show. Next time I want to have crazy matches. My submission rate is like real big to me. Like I like to have a really high submission rate because it means my rule set is working. So I mean, I measure stuff like that. But when it comes to like media coverage or this or that, I learned early on in my relationship with Flow Sports that they have so many other partners that they can't, roll out these big marketing plans for everybody the way that need to be done. Like my marketing plan, the way I have set with Jiu Jitsu Times and with these guys and other partners is that we're trying to sell tickets, which is a long-term strategy, whereas Flow Sports is trying to get viewers, which is a short-term 2-week strategy, because most people have ADD and then they're not going to remember if they're going to start pushing an event a month out. So it's 2 different marketing goals. So that's why we felt the need to kind of develop our own content, our own media, our own podcasts, our own behind the fights, our own beyond the matches. Because if you're not creating your own content and you're expecting somebody else to do the heavy lifting, you're never going to get the outcome on your product or the marketing, or you're never going to be satisfied because you're expecting somebody else to be doing the legwork you should be doing yourself. And that's where like you'll see a lot of partners and people that are like, oh man, I'm not getting a lot of coverage. I'm like, well, what are you doing? Are you talking to anybody? Are you reaching out? Are you, throwing ideas out to these editors? Are you talking to no, I just figured, they would know what I'm like. How do people know what to write about if you don't show them, like they don't have time to watch everybody. So
exactly. That's, I think, what a lot of people do miss. And Dan knows it. Like, my inbox is like a disaster. And it's because, because I have so many people that are like, check out this, and like, I'm not to send me things for like, look at me as a blue belt in this Naga tournament. Like, that's great. I'm really glad you're promoting your but, we unfortunately can't cover every little thing. And I cannot see every single thing. Like, I'm on the internet most of the day, but there's stuff that I miss, or algorithms will, not show me certain things. And there's people who aren't connected with me. Like, it's this whole bunch of stuff. And so when people, like, I've gotten like angry messages before from like, why do you promote, Fight to Win and Third Coast and Kasai and UFC, but you won't promote my small little tournament from this itty bitty city? I'm like, well, because I haven't heard of it. Stuff is just making me aware of it. And like the media might say, oh, not yet, or, this isn't really something you're interested in, but like, you're never even going to put yourself on the map if you're not doing the one, like doing the thing like that Fight to Win, whatever other promotions that we cover are doing, and reaching out and making contacts with the media as well.
Yeah, and like we realized early on, like, we're not a Fight to Win, we're not a Kasai, we're not a ADCC, we're not a Submission Underground. The closest, we like all those promotions, and we took maybe little influences from those just from watching them. But I realized that there's already one of those, like, I don't want to be a copy of a copy. So like, we came in and we tried to do things completely different, like, than the industry is used to. And I think our marketing approach and the way that we got into making storylines a center point of the fights, like making every fight matter on the card, like hyping those fights. Because I think, like, if you see in professional wrestling, like Dan will even say, like, the stories make the fight. That it's fixed, that it's all a work. But if there's a good storyline, like if you want fighter A to whip fighter B's ass because he might have slapped his girlfriend or something backstage, like, you want like some sort of, you got to have some heat, and that's what sells. And I think that's what jiu-jitsu is missing. Like, they're too like obsessed on that. Oh, we've got to be honorable, we've got to do this. But what's honorable about shoving a needle in your ass for steroids to go get a gold medal? Like come on, guys. Like, all this, like, this marketing bullshit that you brought over, like, let's just be real. Like, we're all just trying to train for our own individual reasons, some mental health, some to compete, some to get out of the house away from their wives, some to, to bond with some friends, like, everybody trains for different reasons, and like, everybody promotes for different reasons, and everybody builds their promotion for different reasons. For us, it was not for profit in the beginning. It was to spread the sport, to get our name out there, and to do a big push. Others, they come in and they're all about the numbers, like the Fight to Win. Like, Seth has been great at building his business and building a sustainable model. But I think when you go too far in one direction, whether it's financial or you go for the matchmaking or you go here, there, I think you mess up on the overall picture, which is, promotion A might have 1, 2, 3, 4 going for it, but there's still 5 and 6 that they're lacking. And I think, they might have the best product. They might have the best, what's this? I'm planning. Sorry. One of the messages came through, but I think it's just, you've just got to do things that are different, and you got to make yourself stand out. And that's something people miss. And if they want to get your attention, Avery, or anybody's attention, or a competitor wants to get your attention, Dan, they've got to do things to stand out. and that's what we did, and people got mad about it.
Yeah. Well, go ahead, Dan.
I was gonna say, did you ever have conflict from any jiu-jitsu federations, whether it be international or Australian?
Well, like the IBJJF, my professor is good homies with the IBJJF, so they've always been super cool with us. Like their head refs want to come work for us, like Rico Bastos and those guys we're talking about. Some of the IBJJF has been great with us. I've no qualm. I'm not one of those fuck the IBJJF guys, because when it comes to tournaments, they run the most professional on-time tournament I've ever been to. I mean, grappling industries is a close second, but they're kind of like, two different stuff. The grappling industry's put on great events too, but I think the IBJJF is still the gold standard when it comes to events.
Yeah, definitely. For us, we had a conflict of date with our Australian federation. We're sort of just like, do we look at moving the date? Do we, are we going to lose some competitors and stuff? But we actually had a lot of support for as you said, those exciting matches and stuff like that. Not everybody wants to pay $120 and stuff like that to go have one match. That's what Grappling Industries is doing so well, and all those other tournaments, the round robin. Australia, it definitely comes to our state or the Australian Federation of Jiu Jitsu or something. You win a state championship. So I think the Grappling Industry model works really well for people that just want to go out and get a couple of matches but not be on a big stage. I'm not quite sure how many events they run in America, but in Australia,
they do a ton. Grappling industry. Like Marcos was they had one in Houston on March 14th, and they had to cancel theirs. But he's come to our events. He's a fan of ours, and I talked to Marcos and David a lot, and they're great. They do a ton of events in the U.S. So I've competed for them, I think 3 times. And I got 6 matches one time, 5 matches the other. And you're not going to see that in IBJJF, especially in the Masters division, old man, fat boy division. I'm going to go in there against some ex-NFL linebacker or something, get my shit pushed in, and have to go about my way. That's basically how that goes. So, but grappling industries is good. I think is good for the sport, and it gives people more tournament experience just by having that round robin format.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. We've got people that are white belts, and they come up and ask, the brown belts and black belts, what tournament should I compete in? I don't want to spend this much money. And I think, definitely grappling it was standout of the IBJJF, and close second for sure. In Australia, I would even say that they're probably number one, maybe. I don't really do a lot of IBJJF or rule competition, so sort of submission only better. Our state one competition a year. We clashed with them. So during all this corona stuff, I guess that's one thing that came out that didn't have to start. They do this tournament, but they go spectate this one. It sort of sucked having clashed with another tournament for me because I wanted to compete that day. As you know, it's not just a couple of hours setting up an event and stuff like that. We were looking at a day and a half because of hotel constriction, the work. So, hopefully after all of this, we can get back to it and bring some exciting matches.
Man, the tournament game is a lot. Even almost as weird as a super fight game, because these guys will book on the same day in the same city purposely. These tournament guys, in the States, Grappling Industries will come in, book a date, and then next thing you know, a Houston tournament. Oh, we're going to book the same day. I'm why are you guys doing this?
Yeah, I don't get that, but
I don't understand. I don't get why. Why are y'all going to book on the same day and split your turnout? That's why we had to start. There's other promotions in Houston that do super fights, but the other event's kind of a fight to win, kind of a fight to win, kind of knockoff type event. And so it's not, I don't put myself, if I was to compare us to anybody, it would be I don't know, nobody. Like I said, we're not going to be a traveling event like Seth. If we do traveling, we're going to do pop-up shows, because our model's set up to go into a music venue, built-in production. We can bring in local talent. Basically, I've made local headways there, and we can replicate our model very cheaply, production-wise, other places. And we're not going to be a Kasai and have that $1 million production value that they have, because those guys, it looks very nice, but it'll put you to sleep too. So it's just one of those things. It's different strokes. I enjoy those events, but if you're going to show like, Joe Schmo white belt, I don't think they would really get too much into it.
Yeah.
Like ADCC, like we were all there. ADCC, the final day and stuff like that, like the bright lights and stuff like that. Like that's the stuff that I think is attractive to anyone. Anyone likes bright lights, fireworks, or Christmas lights and stuff like that. But not everybody can one room with just a little bit of music and 10 minutes of potential silence. If it goes 10, 20 minutes, stuff like that. Like that's not gonna, like my mom and my sister and my brother, they wouldn't sit there for that. But they'd probably come, and watch ADCC or something like that based on the lights, because they know that lights come back, drums come back.
Yeah. It was awesome. Like, I mean, the ADCC, man, like I said, y'all were there as well. I mean, I was very impressed with the way they did it. The only thing that kind of got me was like seeing all three mats. Like you got Buchecha versus so-and-so this. And so it was like I almost had a fucking seizure trying to follow it all. Like it was, it was unreal. But I mean, I think, those guys have been doing it a long time, and I think they did a good job. In 2021, I'll probably watch from the couch this time, because I rewatched it recently, and I'm like, man, like it's great in person, but they did a great job with the actual production on the TV. Like I think a lot of the production elements were set up for TV, because it looked way different. Like if you're watching it, on Flow Grappling compared to actually being there, it was it's kind of a little more chilled out.
Yeah, well, like the work that Seth and the Fight to Win team did with the production this year, and like everybody involved just did such a good job. But the difference between this year and previous years, like it was, and I hadn't like physically been there previous years, so I'm sure I'm a little biased, like of everything. But it was just, I feel like it was leaps and bounds above what we'd seen before. And Seth had said something to me before about like, this is, the most elite grappling tournament that we have. And, in previous years it had been like, the production just hadn't been there. And I think this past year it was finally where it deserved to be.
Because like Finland was like, it was like they'd have like Icelandic death metal playing in the background while all those matches were going on, and it was like a dimly lit room. I was like, I enjoy it. I'm gonna watch it, but it was definitely kind of weird hearing like In Flames play their greatest hits while Jiu Jitsu was going on.
Yes.
But they definitely stepped it up. I think they'll do a great job in 2021. So I mean, Jiu Jitsu's getting back. I mean, what are you guys thinking? I mean, it's coming back slowly. I think Fight to Win has some events coming up. I'm not like this weekend and
this weekend.
Yeah. So I haven't really been following too much of anybody else, but yeah, those that's good for them. I'm glad to see that they're able to get their people back to work and get jiu-jitsu back going. So we're following right behind them, and Texas is like the mecca of jiu-jitsu right now. It's been my dream the whole time. Like, hey, wake up, Third Coast, Texas, we're amazing. And now everybody's like, all right, we're gonna move to Texas and throw grappling events for the time being.
I hope everyone can, obviously stay safe. It sounds like you guys are doing everything you can to keep back safe and everything. It's interesting just to see all of it going on from, again, over here where we have such lower case numbers. I think Australia is being super careful, but it is. I hope everything is working out well over there.
Yeah. I mean, we're hoping, August we're able to come back with one of our big events, and we're probably going to scale those back to probably twice a year and do a lot more of our, try and move around where we can. But like doing these events we're doing now, the smaller scale ones, like the profit margins on how we're doing it are like 20 times better than anything we've done. That was something that we kind of took, during this time off. I was depressed for like 2 weeks after the event canceled. It was like being on a roller coaster nonstop for like a week straight, and then getting off of it and being disoriented and your body like shocked and tired, and realizing like I did all this work and I don't get to have like, my cake at the end of it, like after it was hard to swallow. So it was like 2 weeks of just freaking depression and feeling sorry for myself. And then it was like, all right, we're in a coronavirus quarantine. It's like, what am I going to do? So we just started working on the business, and we started restructuring things, and we started, we started getting back to basics. What started it was me and my partner, Zach. We put our heads together. We got some of our old friends back involved, and, we've got something, I think, pretty special moving forward. That's not going to be reliant on Fat Cat sponsor money or this or that or the other. It's going to be a self-sustaining event. So, and that's kind of been our goal from the beginning. We just wanted to make that big initial investment just to get our name out there. Whereas people said we were inflating the market. No, we were just marketing our product. So,
yeah, exactly. And I don't think too much jiu-jitsu or I don't think you can really have too much jiu-jitsu. I know that's, but I get excited when I see tournaments that are doing good stuff, and like any way for athletes to make more money or to spread it, the way we can spread it throughout Texas, or how Dan wants to boost the Adelaide scene.
For real, man. That's where it all starts. It's got to start from the heart, because if you're starting from anywhere else in the heart, I think you're in the wrong business, because it's going to break your heart. It's going to harden your heart. And then it's going to empty your pockets, and then it's going to hurt your heart again. And then it's going to fill I don't know. It's the circle of life, but it's worth it. It's been worth it. I'll tell you, I wouldn't change it for anything. So Dan, I hope you stick with it. And I hope you, you still plan to, kick your thing off once you can.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, we've got a tentative date right now for July 12th. We've got to check with all the athletes to see, whether or not they're ready to compete. But I think, this time has definitely given me, a little bit more weight to contact other athletes and start to build like a second show. And I think a lot of people will either come back like thirsty to compete, or they'll come back and maybe tail off. And one thing that's sort of interesting is checking out how many spectators that we can have in venues at the moment. I think our state's lifted to you can have 10 people inside restaurants and stuff. So we're not exactly feel like a hall with 500 people or anything like that anytime in the next week or two. But hopefully by the end of the year we can have 500 people watch more some jiu-jitsu. Do you guys have restrictions for venues?
Yeah, that's where my creative mind came in, is because I was like, you know what? I don't want to throw a spectatorless show. I don't want to throw a show with no people there. And I know, so I've been trying to crystal ball, and that's why we pushed our event out to early June, because I have a feeling like we're expecting June 1st, the Texas mayor to say, okay, well, all gyms are opening in 4 days. So fitness gyms, martial arts gyms in Texas, everything's opening in 4 days. So I said, okay, well, 2 weeks after that, I expect them to expand from 25% capacity up to 50% capacity. So I went and I kind of pulled around my resources and my network and found a venue that we're basically going to take from a blank slate. It's a big multi-purpose gym, and we're going to turn it into a Third Coast Grappling Kumite production. But their capacity is normally like 450, 500. So at 50%, we said we're going to try and do 100 spectators safely. We're going to have questionnaires, waivers. Doctor's going to do a quick temp screen before they come in. And we're going to try and have spectators, be the first one to actually bring back, spectators to a jiu-jitsu event come then. But with 100 spectators, say 50 people for staff and athletes, we're still well under, the recommended capacity of what they're wanting. So if they're saying 50% of 450, 500, and we're at 150, 200, I think we're within our federal and local regulations. And we're going to, I have people on my team that do this stuff for a living, the coronavirus stuff. We did a podcast yesterday with the 2 people that have advised me through this whole thing. So they're the ones that got us ahead of the game. They're the ones that helped us make the decisions that we made that ended up being correct. And they're the ones that are helping us make the decisions to come back in. So I'm confident in whatever they tell us to do. That's all you can do.
Yeah. I think as long as you're, following hopefully what the experts say and everything like that, you're doing what you can. You gotta keeping people. It sounds like you guys are doing that. Sounds like Fight to Win's doing it too.
Yeah,
So.
my birthday's June 2nd, so like the June 6th card. One of our sponsors, Saloon Door Brewing, is like, yeah, we're gonna come bring out some free beers. So it's kind of our thing. We like to give free alcohol away to our either VIP purchasers or, in this case, one of the people that buy a ticket for these events. So not only do you get a mat side seat, you're gonna get as many beers as you would like all night for free. So I mean, that's a hell of a value right there. And it's just they come in, sponsor, they bring the kegs in, they serve everybody. And everybody gets a little drunk, and grappling events are a lot more fun when people are drinking. I promise you.
What are you gonna do with that? I don't think you were doing the same thing with your event, but he was trying to mix something to do with the beer and jiu-jitsu, right? Or do I have that completely wrong?
Like me or Dan?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh.
Me?
Yeah.
My line up is like delayed a little bit again. We were trying to do something similar. We approached a couple of breweries. We actually asked them if we could set up a stage and then block off a little area to do a tournament. And that was the plan for our second one, because our first show we have it's called The Fringe. So it's a whole bunch of like comedians and circus acts come to town, and it's sort of like a whole 2 to 3 month event, I think. But they booked out all the venues, so we actually lost our first
bastard carnies.
So yeah, but I would. We had I think 4 or 5 breweries that were keen to jump on and sponsor, and we were just going to hire a hall and give them their own little stall and stuff like that. But what could possibly go wrong with people drinking and doing a martial arts? Nothing.
Like, dude. The crowds, like the venues we've done them at, they're like, dude, like these are like the nicest people in the world. Like everybody gets drunk and they don't want to fight because we all can fight. They're like, let's go get another drink. And next thing you know, like people that haven't drank in like a year are getting alcohol poisoning because like our Third Coast Grappling 2, the beer we served in the VIP lounge, we served like a Russian Imperial Stout, which was like 12%. So like people were in there and they're like, just like, they don't know what craft beer is. And we were kind of assholes for it, but we had a sold out crowd. We had sold out tables. So like these people were in there drinking 12% Russian Imperial Stouts, like water, like, come on, man, chug. And next thing you know, they're like, whoa, like falling all over the place. But it was like when Gordon Ryan's girlfriend beat this girl, Stephanie Trevino's competed for us, the fucking crowd, man, went insane. Like everybody was so hammered. She like pulled her shirt up. Everybody was like, that's why we don't let kids in our events. But it was like the environment's something that is like, you have to come to one of our shows to kind of like really take it in. And that's kind of like what we want to do. We want to take it to different places, cool locations around the world, maybe Australia one day, and just kind of, and put our brand out there. I mean, because I think it's more than just like a jiu-jitsu event. I mean, it's an experience that you can take your mom and your sister and your uncle and your brother, and they're not going to call you a fag for taking you to a jiu-jitsu event like some people do. Like, excuse my language, Avery.
My brother would definitely call me.
No, but one of my friends was like, he's like, man, I used to try to get my parents to come to like IBJJF events or GI events. And like, they're like, dude, you're so gay for doing this. And he's like, well, now I bring them to like, I'm competing for your event and they think I'm like the coolest guy ever. So it's like, we're doing something there.
Yeah. Well, my brother's straight edge, so he won't exactly have fun level. He's not going to be smashing down 12% Imperial pints. I think like, that's what makes it fun. Like, you're right. That's where you can bring your uncle and your brother and stuff and make it show. Whereas, if you bring your uncle along and he's drinking 12% beers and like, AGF Masters Worlds and stuff like that, it's going to be a completely different story. And if some of the Masters competitors are like lifting their shirts up and stuff, you'll get a different reaction towards what you would like put them right up and everything. So,
like they do the Brazilian celebration and it'll be like, what is wrong with this guy? Like, why is he ripping his shirt off?
Yeah, it's interesting because like guys open the key and like, the poha and stuff like that. Everyone's like, oh no, but like as soon as like does it, like
the whole crowd's like, yeah, poha, whatever that means, we're with you. And your uncle's like, y'all are all fucking mad, you and your little cult. Like, I'm never coming here again.
Yeah, following Christmas, yelling poha. I still don't know what it means.
Yeah, I think it means fuck, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
It means jizz. That's what it means.
Jizz? Like Jizz?
Yeah, you can Google it.
My professor says poha all the time.
Everybody says that, but yeah, that's what
It means jizz, like jizz,
like yeah, that's a literal translation.
Oh, jizz, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well,
So
that puts a whole new meaning on poha from here.
Yeah, that's the literal translation of it. But, yeah, my first coach was from Brazil.
So is Avery competing on Grapple Sport? I mean, is she coming in as the purple belt killer?
She is. So she could be participating in hopefully our under 60 kilo.
Hopefully, I see that shade.
Oh,
I know.
Throwing the shade.
Like, 60.
Injury prevention course, like, you know, like obviously like everything besides weight gain is what I was talking about every day. Yeah, but it's exciting. I think in your division, I can't off the top of my head, there's 2 purple belts and 2 blue belts, maybe.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so we purple, blue, brown for over 60. We just couldn't find enough purple belt females to compete on that date. But I know that someone's had surgery, and you know, we'll change it around. But yeah, Avery's definitely gonna jump in whether she likes it or not.
She's gonna heel hook the hell out of somebody.
Let's not jinx it. I might just embarrass.
Are you gonna allow heel hooks for like blue belts and purple belts and everything? Like all subs legal?
Yeah. So all subs are legal. Just no slam. We have a show in Adelaide where there were some slams that participated, but the mats were rather thin and the stage was very strong. And one of the ladies was like, "Bruh, I'm 36. I don't want to get slammed like that." Like, I'm like, okay, all right.
I got a bad story about this.
Yeah.
So Mona Bailey, you probably know who she is, the alopecia. Yeah. Like her family's been great. Her dad actually helps me with my kids event. He's the one who helps me book the kids and stuff like that. But Mona competed in our blue belt qualifiers with like some like world champion blue belt girls and like high level college wrestlers and stuff. So she goes in there in this match with this one. And I guess I didn't realize that slams were legal. We put it out at the rules meeting and stuff. But so she puts this girl like in a triangle or like in full guard, and this wrestler chick, super aggressive, just power bombs her like a 14-year-old kid. Like head bounces off the mat, like everybody goes, and I'm just sitting there. Her coach and her dad are running at me. I'm like, slams are legal, blah, blah, blah. And then she just turns around and just triangles the shit out of that girl that slammed her. Walks off the mat like a savage, sits in the back and comes back and submits 3 more top-level blue belts and wins the whole thing. It was incredible.
Mona's incredible.
Yeah, she's a future star for sure. I mean, she's been in the game for a while.
Yeah, so. That's incredible. But yeah, it's hard to do when the stage. So.
Yeah, Edwin Najmi seems to always get slammed on our stage. I think he gets slammed on everybody's stage, though. I mean, like, he gets slammed on Seth's stage. He gets slammed on our stage.
Yeah, everyone gets slammed on Seth's stage.
Yeah. So I would do the same thing. You put me in a submission and I can slam you. Like my wife, like she knows nothing about jiu-jitsu, and I try to do jiu-jitsu with her, and she'll like bite me or tickle me, and I'm like, stop. And I'm like, oh, so that's the defense to the rear naked choke. Is just to tickle me. So
that's like an actual defense that Dan does to people, though, where he's trying to get out of your closed guard and he digs his thumbs into your armpits. And like, if you're like me, like I do that too. I'll get the lapels and kind of shove them in the armpits like that, and I just stand up straight. And they have like little T-Rex arms; they can't reach you.
You get the thumb and you hook the thumb in, and then you grab. So thumb first. So
thumb first. I'm gonna try that on that grappling dummy on Monday. I'm coming for him.
Yeah.
No, but we're getting past an hour, guys. I appreciate y'all coming on. It was just good to kind of shoot the shit. I've been wanting to do this for a while. This is gonna be my last kind of Third Coast podcast interview. Like, look, these give me so much anxiety. Like just the preparing them, like the talking, like doing Eddie Bravo and drag. Like we were getting all these high level guests that I was just reaching out to, and I'm like, oh wait, you're the one that has to interview these guys. And I'm not a professional by any means. Like I just kind of, I appreciate it. I just tried to throw something together to keep people entertained, and it was free content, and got us exposure. We got to have some cool conversations with people. We got to talk to you guys. I mean, that was kind of just, like guys like Josh Leduc and those guys that were, started to do the Corona podcast. I was kind of like, we have a podcast already, so why not just keep it going? So
Yeah, I've loved seeing everyone's podcast do well during this. Like, it's kind of been a little bright side is seeing everyone get into these creative projects in jiu-jitsu and having fun with them and doing well. It seems like
yeah. I mean, the guys have done. I mean, there's been some great stuff, like the Jordan Pietzman guy. He does the chair jiu-jitsu. He like he did. I mean, there's just some really cool stuff that came out of it. You know, so it wasn't all good. But on the other side, I got to go back to promoter mode. I got to get back to work. Maybe a podcast a week. I get myself in trouble if I talk too much. So I gotta learn to keep it quiet, but I appreciate it, Dan. Thanks for taking some time for you to get to work. Avery, I appreciate it. And I'm sure we will be in touch soon.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, no problem. Hold on one second. And we